We're starting late and we're being bankers. We're starting late and we're ending early. We're going to be done by no later than 4:30 today. So please tell me if it's close to that time. Since we're starting at 3:15, I'll give you a break around 3:45 to 3:50. So let me know when it's that time, and I'll give you 10 minutes. All right? If you're not in the virtual desktop, please get in the virtual desktop. And if you are in the virtual desktop, you can start up, I don't know, we're going to write the simplest PHP program that we can write. All right? It's literally going to be 3 lines long. Okay? So I'll put it up here right now. Now notice, is this color coded? No, because I haven't saved it. Once I save it, the coloring will change. All right, that's the whole file. I can't read that, Jeff. Well, there. You should be able to read that. Yeah, there you go. Don't save it. Just get it done, and I'll give you it's 3:16. I'll give you a couple minutes. Even the people who are typing impaired should be able to do that within 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, and let me grab this. I'll tell you what, I'll bring it right back. I'm not on the virtual desktop. I want to get on it. When you got off before, did you exit and everything, like, you know? Okay, I would say, oh, you were in it, but then I would try to reboot and see if it gets you back in again. No? Okay, why don't you, okay, totally get out of that. See if you can get on it from the regular machine. All right, from the BTC machine. See if that works. Yes, I want you on the virtual desktop. Everything we do for this class will be done from the virtual desktop because we need Xampp for this. If you look up here, and if you're still doing it, it's fine, but I just want to show you something. I'm going to copy this. I don't want you to do this. Sometimes you'll see PHP code written like this, which you actually can get away with, but you never should do. Okay? You can, sometimes you'll see it like this, language equals PHP, and then an ending script tag. You should never do that. Right? Sometimes you'll actually see it where it looks like this, more like you have it for ASP.NET. You should never do that either. In fact, the first one I showed you, you can't do it like this. That doesn't work, but you can do it like this. Leave the PHP off. Those are called short tags. You're not supposed to do that either. If you decide you want to do one of those that I told you should never do, then you have to go into a special file that exists in PHP called the php.ini or ini or initialization file. And most of that stuff that's in there is turned off by default because it's considered bad programming practice. The way they turn it off is, I believe in here, they put a semicolon at the beginning of it, and the line's green, you can tell. So if you just remove that semicolon from the beginning, it turns it back on again. You should always do it like this. So this is a PHP start tag. This is a PHP end tag. Now, when you look at this, in all seriousness, this looks innocent enough. To me, it does. We're calling a built-in PHP function that's called PHP Info. All right? What that actually gives you is about 9 pages worth of documentation. Because what it does is it goes through the ini file, and it breaks it up by different parts, and it formats it for you. If you say, I don't understand, let me run through the steps, and then you can all do it too. All right? When you save this, you do a file, save as, and please look up here. You don't have to do this right now, but please look up here. You want to save it off your desktop. All right? You'll want to go to Xampp. In fact, is it on the C drive or the D drive? I'll have to look. I think it's on the C drive. Yeah, there it is. So we want to save it, if you remember that from this morning, to the C drive and then to htdocs. All right, so you're going to want to end up saving it there. All right. So when I take this and I want to do a file and I want to do a save as, I want to make sure that click computer or whatever, go to the C drive, go to Xampp, go to htdocs. And when you save it, you'll either want to click down here under the save type as and find PHP, all right, like that, or you're going to want to put it in double quotes and say something like my first PHP file .php. Does that make sense? Now watch, as soon as I hit enter, watch the color on here. All right? Because the IntelliSense isn't as good here for PHP as it is for some other languages, but the color coding is good. And what that's doing is the red are tags. All right? This just is basically showing it's a function. And you can see that the color that's in. Unlike JavaScript, you must end PHP lines of code with a semicolon. You don't have any choice. All right? Now, we'll go back over that in just a second, but would you agree, I've now saved that under htdocs. Would everybody agree with that? So now look, if we look up on the screen here, all right, I'm starting up Xampp. You'll know how to do that. We did it this morning. I'm clicking Start for Apache and Start for MySQL. All right. Then I'm going and I'm opening up a browser window. Heck, this morning I was using Firefox, so let's do it in Chrome. That's fine. So I'm opening up Chrome here. You can always run a test if you've got Xampp up and running to see if PHP will work. If you type in just http://localhost and you hit enter and you get that start page, everything's cool. That's the start page. But I don't want that. I want, and you can usually just type in localhost instead of the HTTP, but I've always put it in anyway. So http://localhost / and what did I call that? My first PHP file or something like that? My first PHP file .php. I think that was what it was. There it is. That one line of code gave me all this. So it printed out everything in the ini file for me. So again, if you haven't done so already, when you've got the file up here, do a file and either save or save as, and make sure that you go over to the C drive, and under the C drive, make sure you go over to Xampp, and under Xampp, make sure you go over to htdocs. All right, and make sure you save the file with a .php extension. You can call it anything. John can call it john.php, and it'll work just fine. Please do that. Save it if you're working in Notepad++. Make sure your colorization basically is set. And then, as I mentioned, then go and open up a browser window. It doesn't matter if it's IE, Opera, which I haven't tried much in Opera, but IE or Chrome or Firefox, and then it's http://localhost / the name of your file with a .php extension, and that should run it. You'll notice that Mike left. Mike Rates took the class last semester. Mark Lestarge took the class, or last fall, I guess. Mark Lestarge took the class last fall. So did Laura. So we'll even have people in here that if you have questions in John's busy or whatever, there's other people if they're still around in here that you'll be able to ask. All right, or if you ask them during other classes or whatever. So again, when you write PHP code, it has to be within PHP tags. Okay, that's not my rule. That's a PHP language rule. And I will tell you something you may or may not have ever known before, and that is that when you type this, when you type the http:// all this stuff that we just did, you can run HTML files in Xampp. So anything that you did, if you had a render for that class, you could have run them in Xampp. They would have looked the same and they would have still worked. The difference is Xampp is a tool that's designed to help you work with the server, and you don't have any server instructions in there. But it would still work. And just to show you that, I'm going to very quickly come in here and create another file. I'm just going to put in doctype HTML head title and HTML test with Xampp. Head, body. Yeah, it should be. Only if I want it to work. Thank you. Put an H1 tag in here. I'm not doing any formatting. This is an Xampp test. And my body tag and my HTML tag. Oops. Save it in the same place I just saved this, so a file save as. There it is in htdocs. Not only can I do this, if I want to, I'm going to save this twice. Jeff.html, okay? And I'm going to save it again. File, save as. Jeff.php. All right, so it's been saved twice. So now I'm coming back into here, and I'm going to run this again. I've got localhost. Jeff.html. There it is. Right? It worked. Let's run it again. Let's bring the other file up just so you can tell there's a difference. Now I'll do Jeff.php. And it looks the same. So you can run straight HTML inside of Xampp if you want to. There's not really a benefit because it's a server-side tool. But if you want to do it, you can. All right. Also, what we'll be getting to, and I'm just introducing this to you. It's the first time most of you have probably seen it. But if I come in here and I've got Jeff.php, which is this one, right? I can come in here and in the middle of my file, this is an Xampp test. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put PHP right in here. Oops. It does that. There's something with spell check that adds that to it. I'm not sure what it is or why, but oops. And here you usually use echo or print. Echo. This is a test. Also, print. Oops. So is this. All right, I'm going to save. I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to rerun Jeff.php by just refreshing my browser. See how that works? So I can intersperse, I can put PHP right inside of my HTML document. All right, the question is, can I also go and put HTML inside of PHP? And does it go both ways? Yes. But if you're going to put PHP in it, it must have a PHP extension. Okay, not my rule. All right. So that said, like I said, I just decided to give you that as a little prelude to what we'll be working on. And I'll go back to here. Whatever. Nice. I didn't save that. The chances of me being able to type that much and not make a mistake are none. But I just did it. All right, here's the PDF of the syllabus. Again, the syllabi looks so similar. You know that by now. Hands-on training utilizing PHP and MySQL. That's what we're going to do. Let me tell you too, this is me right now. If you ever heard the term brainstorming, this is me brainstorming right now. Okay. All right. The plan this semester. You know which classes you're taking. All right. Most people out of the, if you have a choice between all the stuff that you've had today, I'm going to leave Joomla out of the equation for a second. But if you say either the C class you had yesterday, or the classes you had today, Java, or PHP, or ASP.NET, most people would say if I'm going to build a website, I'm probably going to do it in PHP, not in ASPX, or ASP.NET, but you can. But in this. So what I'm hoping is when we are working next semester in the DIP class, which is Design and Implementation Projects, all right, by that time you'll know all these languages. There's no new language to learn. All right, I might introduce WordPress, and I don't know if you know WordPress or not. It's another content management system. It's mainly used for blogs, but you can use it for anything that you use Joomla for. All right, but it's not technically it's not as powerful as Joomla. What my hope is, what you will do for your project in that class, there will be one assignment. You will either add to some kind of a website that you'll be working on this year or this semester, or you'll create a brand new website, whatever. And that website will have in it several pages. And you'll show HTML5, CSS3, you'll show PHP, you'll show Joomla, you'll show WordPress, and anything else that you want to show. And that's one of the things that you'll present for the Design and Implementation Projects class. Because to me, if I bring the heavy hitters here, I'm going to see if I get Tony to come back, all right, and I'm going to try to get John Ballard, who's the president of Foremost Media, to come in, and Andy Walker, who's the lead programmer from Foremost Media. I've worked with both of them. They're both on our advisory committee. And there's a guy, I don't know if he's even still in business, but there's a guy named Mark Taylor who's got a place, I don't know if it's still up or not. It's in downtown Janesville. It's called Increase Marketing. He does a lot of work setting up WordPress sites for people, or he had been. I'm going to try to get all those people in there. And you're trained monkeys in that you're performing for them. You're not monkeys, sorry, but you're performing for them. All right, and you're trying to show them your wares. I can't think of a better way to try to get you jobs than for you to be able to go out and show what you've been doing. All right. So halfway into the class or so, we'll go into working with databases. All right. We should be able to cover probably the whole text. And not only should we be able to cover the whole text, we should still have time left. But will that happen? We'll see. We're going to go through several chapters of the book before you even get an assignment. All right. We're going to be practicing all sorts of different stuff. The book, if you haven't seen the book yet, and no, I don't have a PDF of the book. I don't know. I asked them to put it on Course Smart for me. The last time I looked, it wasn't there. All right, I know Larry Ullman, who writes really good books. He's really hinky about what he does with PDFs and whatever. That's just the way that he is. All right, the table of contents for the book is right here. Pretty simple when you look at it. We're already have gotten into Chapter 1, getting started with PHP. Okay. Just so you're aware of it, Chapter 2 with variables. If I decide I want to create a variable, so I want to create a variable that's called age. All PHP variables have to start with a $sign. They're not typed. So I can say age equal 21. All right, this is a test. Print so is this. Echo, it doesn't matter, I can use echo or print. The age is $sign age. Save that, go back. Oh, no, I lost it. The age is 21. See that? I should put some line breaks in there. All right. When you do this, typically what do you do for line breaks? You just use the old HTML break tag. All right. I don't know if you need the slash. We're going to find out. I guess the answer is no. All right. So we'll go through that. Chapter 3, that's where it gets fun. To me, this is the best part of it. Because you start to learn. So far, if you created a form, did Arinda have you, when you created forms in her class, correct? When you guys had the 157, did she make you send it any place? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think I remember that the author put that out there. Now, what you'll do, I'll show you real quickly what you'll do, okay? And I'm writing this off the top of my head. Hopefully I won't make any mistakes. If I do, I don't really care, but we'll get it by that time. But I'm just going to create a new file here. Trying to be proper here. All right, I'm going to come through here. Remember when I can't say this because I don't know with Arinda, but one thing I'm going to be harping on with the first year people. So if I come through here and I create a form, all right, we're going to say form, but then we're going to say something like method equals post, all right, action equals Jeff.php. All right, I'm going to change Jeff.php in just a second. All right, so I'm going to come down here, putting my end form tag. I got to put some stuff in there, but just give me a second. All right. So I'm going to create a real simple form. Literally simple. I'll have first name and last name. Okay? Just nothing else. So I'll put labels in so it looks a little nice. Whoops, first name. Text. Again, I'm asking you this question now, so if you look up on the screen here, when you created stuff like this, did Arinda have you set an ID and a name field? Okay. Well, then let's talk about the difference between them right now. Okay? All right. If you remember from the work that we did, this isn't part of it, so I'm going to get rid of this, right? Remember when we did this, those of you who were in the jQuery class, we said, no, what was it? Get element by ID. Remember that? That's this. All right? Does that make sense to everybody? So if you want to do work on the client side, you give it an ID. Oh, okay. All right. But I'm just making sure it all fits on the screen, so that's why I'm putting it down here. So I'm going to say name equals, and you normally, depending on what the control is, you give that the same name as the ID. That's what you use on the server side. All right. So I'm going to do that. So I've got that. I'm going to copy this. I'll copy it one more time. So I've got first name. This will be last name. I'll save this. Okay, just somebody remind me. I'll save it, so it'll be out there. All right. So there's last name or last name. All right, and then I'll come through here and I'll just say type equals submit. The ID, I really don't need one, but I'll put it in there anyway. Submit name. I'll call it also submit, and value equals submit with a big S. All right. So I've got all this stuff in there. I think that's pretty well done. The only thing I will do is I'll put a line break here, and I'll put a line break here. All right. Now, this can be an HTML file. That's fine. Just to show you this, I'm going to copy in the same place, but I'm going to put in here Jeff.html. Already exists. Yeah, I want to replace it. Okay, so there it is. All right. Now, I can go in and do a run and run this under Chrome, for example. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, that's stuff that you should have all had, regardless of who you are, the experience, etc. that you have. Okay, that's fine. I'll remove that get element by ID right now. Notice if I click submit, watch what happens up here. See that? Brought that file up. That's what we told it to do, right? All right, and that's why I left that stuff in there. Okay, so but now if I come through here and I go back to jeff.php, let me remove that get element by ID first. It shouldn't be there. All right. So if I go back to jeff.this here, and it ran it because there was PHP code in it. So I'm just going to basically come back through here and put some PHP code in. Just, oh boy. One of the classes I was taking online, every time that happened to the guy, because he was using Notepad, he'd start yelling. And these guys, in these classes, they can swear. So you'd hear real loud, C-R-A-P, unbelievably loud. He's like, I hate this frigging thing. He'd say frigging, but it was funny as heck to listen to. In some ways, it was like watching a Doug Tabbitt class. All right, so now I'm going to come through here, and I'm going to do this. What do we have in here? We had first name, and we had last name. I'm going to add some more to it in just a second. All right, and that was basically it. Okay, so I'm going to say echo. I'm going to add some more to that in just a second. Dollar first name space dollar last name period. How are you? Kind of a dumb thing, but just so you can see this. All right. Now, what I have to do then is I have to come in here and say this is equal to $_post name. Looks really weird syntactically because you probably haven't seen anything like that before, and that should be first name. All right, and the next one will be last name. Okay. If this worked, thank you. If this worked, what should print after we click that button on our form is it should come over to this one, and it should say, Jeff Scott, how are you? Does that make sense? All right. Thank you. All right, let's see if it does. That's saved, that's saved. So I'm going to come up again. Oops, I don't know why I did that, but get rid of that. Come up again in here in Chrome. Come on, there we go. And go back. There's jeff.html. I'm going to refresh to make sure it's there. Put in my first name. Put in my last name. Click submit. Okay, so why didn't it work? Well, look, we'll figure it out. So let's see if we can figure it out right now. Action, jeff.php, yes, yes, yes. ID equals name equals. ID equals name equals. That's all okay. Print out a PHP file. Let's see. Post, that's correct. That's correct. That's all correct. See, Mike's going. If he was here, he'd be like, you know what you didn't do? He loves to do that. He even told me he loves to do that. So. Find index first name. Find index last name. Okay, then let's look at that. Go back. Always go back. It's in the code someplace. Last name, first name, last name. That looks good. What is supposed to happen is our method is post in our action. That's supposed to call that file when you click the submit button. Is that your question? Okay. Equals text. Name equals name equals. Okay, go back to here. Post first name. Post last name. $_ that's all correct. So first name, last name, how are you? good time. It's 3:44, so we're taking a break now. All right, and I'll try to figure it out during the break. And as soon as we come back, and hold me to that, because I want to give it. I want to give it to you, and show it to you, and make it work. Try something to see if this works. I don't know why you'd have to do this. What I'm about to do is stupid, but I'll try it anyway. Wanted it to be a PHP file. I'm not sure why. Yeah, they did. No, I don't know why. But I'm going to try it again the other way just to make sure. Save as. Yes. Not working. I'm wondering if when I did it the first time, for some reason, I didn't refresh the screen, and it was using, so it just grabbed the file, it cached the file itself and just threw the cached file out there. I don't know. Gives me a chance though. I can look and see if the book is under there under Course Smart. So.